Shalom, shalom. Giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. Brothers and sisters, this particular teaching is dedicated to help setting truth back into the earth and as well to talk about encouragement, brothers and sisters. So, we want to, brothers and sisters, get into this particular aspect. Now, let's look at this here, right? Shalom, how are you? Now, when somebody asks, how are you? Generally, out of respect, you answer the question and then you ask the same or similar question in that manner, be it in English or Hebrew, be it in Spanish or in Hebrew. Ma shalom ka. Yo soy bien. ¿Y tú? I'm good, and you? ¿Cómo está? Anito, buata. I am well, and yourself? So, regardless of what language you're using, brothers and sisters, it is mannerable. You understand? When someone asks, how are you? You answer the question and then you ask the same thing back. What I'm saying in a nutshell is it is disrespectful to say, how are you? And then the response is only, I'm well, thanks for asking. How are you thanking somebody for asking you while you don't ask the same question? You understand? These are things, brothers and sisters, as far as working on the character of a people that we need to sit there and work on. The Apocrypha says that children are to do service to their parents as slaves to their masters. Now, one of the greatest enslavements, or actually the greatest enslavement, is what happened with our ancestors. You understand? So if you were to even take that stance, yes, mama, yes, papa, you see how we portrayed even in movies, once it came down to that? Your parents are, on a human level, your immediate masters. You are to do service to your parents. You understand? The Most High in the book of Malachi said, speaking of himself, if I am a father, where is my honor? Because we understand in Israel that fathers and mothers are to be given honor. There is, brothers and sisters, no discussion concerning that. That just is an agreement. You understand? So, when we look, brothers and sisters, and I want to talk very briefly, if we will, about the whole thing of quote unquote Mother's Day. And as we already know, we're supposed to honor our mothers every day. So it's kind of peculiar to have one set aside day for such. So that's one thing. Then there's the other side about those who don't have a spirit to reverence or to honor their mother. That would sit there and try to find a reason, well, we don't do this, we don't do that. If you're going to bash, understandably, the understandings of others who lack understanding, such as having one set aside day to show their mother honor, while you're not telling them the law of the Most High, such as honoring their mother kol yom every day, or yom yom every day. Kol yom means all day. Sorry about that. So, brothers and sisters, this is something we want to point out in that regard for edification purposes. When you are asked, how are you? It is disrespectful, arrogant, selfish, and self-centered and conceited to give the response back by saying, I'm well, thanks for asking. This happens quite too often with us as a people. We don't see ourselves with the aspect of giving call and response, where I answer you and you say the same thing back. So you can understand and find out how each other are doing. Might seem like, oh, it doesn't really, yes, it does matter. Because when you at the job and HR, human resources, asks in the morning, how you doing? You make sure you sit there and say, I'm well, everything is good. I hope you're all right. But we don't respect ourselves as much as we respect those who are not even us. Those who we know can really care less about us when they do ask you how you doing. This is something we want to work on as a people as far as our character is concerned. How we deal as brethren and as sistren or brothers and sisters one with another. You understand? Next slide, please. Proverbs chapter 26. The sluggard saith, there is a lion in the way, yea, a lion is in the streets. Amar Azel, Shakal Baderek, Ari Bain Harokobot. Now, brothers and sisters, I want to sit there and emphasize, all right, if we will, on something real quick. We're going to see this word here, Atzel, a little bit frequent in his presentation. The door is turning upon its hinges, and the sluggard is still upon his bed. Hadelik tisob al zirah wa azel al mitato. You see this word here being highlighted in the yellow? Azel. The word azel means lazy. And in Proverbs 26, where it says, the sluggard saith, there is a lion in the way. There are those who will not try to go and get things done as they could and should as a brother. As they could and should as a man. And they'll have every reason on why they don't. Oh, this is why, and that's why. I can't do this because of this, and I can't do this because of that. You understand? That right there is a lazy or a sluggish kind of spirit. It's not an enthused spirit. It's not a spirit that is active. It's not comatose, but it's not active. The door is turning upon its hinges, and the sluggard is still upon his bed. Instead of trying to, quote, make moves and get things done, there are those who will not do so and just have every kind of reason and every kind of stance as to why not. Let's go on to the next slide. Proverbs 26. The sluggard buries his hand in the dish. It wearies him to bring it back to his mouth. Now, brothers and sisters, this is something we want to point out and talk about for edification purposes. You have those who would have, be it the information, be it the substances that's needed, right there, would sit there and get involved in it, but then to sit there and make that move and that push, they sit there and have a problem with it. Like, oh, I got to do that part too? Yes. And we want to highlight, brothers and sisters, this word here yet again. The word azel, which means lazy. Right? Now, let's go on. The sluggard is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men that give wise answer. Now, when we talk about the sluggard, the lazy, the word azel, if you will, or the idle, man, idle, right? The spirit that that person, male or female, has will not allow that person to even see good, as it says in the book of Jeremiah. So when wise counsel is delivered and brought to that person, no, no, I'm not going to deal with that. No, I'm not going to do that. They're not going to take the advantage and the steps to get things done that can and should be done. Let's just keep on chilling. And we're going to talk about that chilling spirit as we go along in this presentation. Because the culture of Israel is not based upon that which we should not do. And we want to emphasize this yet again about this right here. Now, when I say the culture of Israel is not based on what we don't do, it is based more so upon what we show. But if your stance as Israel is simply, we don't celebrate Mother's Day, we don't celebrate holidays, and that's what you've been teaching, understandably teaching, for the past 30 plus years, that is a sluggish spirit. Because what I'm saying, brothers and sisters, is that instead of promoting what we do, what we should do, what we can do, you put your hand in the dish. Okay, we don't do that. My hand is right in this law, but then you're not exercising it. Or should I say, it's not being exercised? Because I don't want to talk in the second person as if I'm perfect, because I'm far from it. You understand? The sluggard is wiser in his own eyes. Because when you have that unfortunate case of that tunnel vision, you only see what you want to see and what you care to see. And going back, brothers and sisters, where we were before, right? You see the lion in the street, brothers and sisters. You don't see, brothers and sisters, that you're able to, perhaps, if there even is a lion out there, that you're able to sit there and defeat it. That you're able to sit there and circumnavigate the sad situation that you might be in, the unfortunate situation that you might be in. The fact that you don't see, quote, no light at the end of the tunnel, brothers and sisters, is why you may stay on your bed with the door turning on its hinges, and you just like, I'm just doing me. That's not a good state to be in, brothers and sisters. So we have to work on those things as a people. Proverbs 10. He becometh poor that dealeth with the slack hand, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. Brothers and sisters, you become poor by not doing the things that we know that we should do as a people. Now, this is not only talking about monetarily wise. You understand? Because it does tell you that riches profit not in the day of wrath. But what we're talking about becoming poor that deals with the slack hand is the same lazy kind of ruach, or the same lazy kind of spirit. You understand? but the hand of the diligent makes rich. That's the way we need to be as a people, diligent in what we're into. Not that wish-wash spirit, not that hot cold spirit. Either you're going to be about something or not. In the Hebrew language, brothers and sisters, emphasizes a concrete matter. Love or hate, hot and cold, day and night, good and evil, right and wrong, masculine, feminine. There really is no gray area in the Hebraic understanding. So when we start to, brothers and sisters, looking at and we'll want to get into the culture of such, we cannot sit there and deal with the slack hand. You must, I'm speaking from experience and from life. Obviously, this was written thousands of years ago in the book of Proverbs, so this is nothing new under the sun about what you put your mind into. Now, let's take it, for instance, about becoming an author. Just throwing that out there, right? Well, I don't know where to start. Okay, let's go back to where we were at. The sluggard buries his hand in the dish. We're going to get there, and I'm going to do this right then. It wearieth him to bring it to his mouth. So you have independent publishers out there, but we still have the mentality that says there's a lion in the street. What if this? What if that? I'm currently this weekend in the state of North Carolina. One of the things that those who know me personally, that keeps a brother from just up and moving, just like that, is that fear, that lion in the street. What about the job? What about this? And what about that? Your hand is already in the dish. Your daughter, and speaking personally, already enjoys when you come to see her each and every single time you will do so on a weekend. Your hand is already in the dish. You're in a situation where you don't have but so much conflict about where you're going to see your daughter, drama with the mother of the child. That doesn't really exist like that. But it wearies you to put it to your mouth. I don't know. That fear, that lion in the street. So when a brother put this PowerPoint together, I'm talking about me to my people, for our people, because Solomon did the same thing. You don't think Solomon spoke on these kind of things because of what he saw in his life? A wise son gathereth in summer, but a son that doeth shamefully sleepeth in harvest. You have job opportunities, but you're too busy chilling in a certain place because this is where you was bred at. So it is not to get too personal or quote in my feelings, but if you got one foot in seeing your child who wants to see you, who looks forward to seeing you, and the mother of the child is not giving you problems and let you have your own little spot when you want to do a presentation in quote her house, but it wearieth you to put it to your mouth so where you can step both foot in and say we're going to make this work out for the benefit of the little one. That's something, as we've been pointing out, we want to work on as a people. When you see that there are things that are working to a great extent in your favor, you don't sit there and try to evade and go away from that. Let's go on, if you will, to the next slide. Proverbs 22 and Proverbs 11. Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men. Why? Because, brothers and sisters, when you're about handling your business, I want to highlight the part that the word is translated as the word business, because we always talk about mind your business, which is nothing wrong with minding your business. That means you're doing just that. You're minding your business. That's a good thing. Beam lock toe. That toe part at the end for a Hebrew class, if you will, is where you get the word his. Malaka means work, translated here as the word business. So when you're handling your business, when you're minding your business, you shall be one that shall stand before kings. But the hand of the slacker will be the one to stand before mean men, because you're going to wind up going down and then going down and then going down. But when you're handling your business, if you're diligent, as we read, the hand of the diligent makes rich. But if you're diligent in your business, you will be the one stand before kings, because they who are not about handling their business will just flay away and sway away from you and freight away from you. Real talk. When you're about whatever your business is, they who are not about their business will gradually just get away from you. When I was teaching in the college, there was a brother that was diligent about science. He had a degree in science. He taught science in the college. He was diligent about his business with that. When he would talk it, I would be like, that ain't really my thing. He had to find another group of people that would be interested in what he was talking about. I'm not going to be hating on the brother. It just didn't interest me. Just like brothers and sisters, when you try to present Hebrew to anyone, you can tell whether their spirit is feeling it or not. So when you can see that he or she is not feeling it, you just do what you do and you handle your business. The man now has a permanent set teaching in a college teaching science. That's why he's standing before kings. And it's not to quote toot one's horn. This is why I'll go in New York or in North Carolina. There are people saying, you're the Hebrew teacher I saw online. I see you online. I follow your classes. I'm like, I never seen you. I don't know who you are from a hole in the wall. Hey, brother, ain't you that brother that was last week teaching about the language? I'm like, yeah, okay. But those who are not about it, they will fray from such. Just as much as I fray away from dealing with science. That ain't my thing like that. Such is life. You understand? The beneficent soul shall be made rich, and he that satisfieth abundantly shall be satisfied also himself. Nefesh baraka. This word baraka, does anybody in the chat, I'm going to ask somebody to type it in. What does the word baraka mean? Anybody? What does that word baraka mean? Anybody can take a shot at that word on what the word baraka means? The beneficent soul shall be made rich, and he that satisfies abundantly shall be satisfied also himself. The word baraka means blessing, translated here as the word beneficent. So now when we get into this, brothers and sisters, we could begin to see, know, and understand exactly what it's talking about and how you can read about it and understand it for one's life. He that satisfieth abundantly shall be satisfied also himself. When you have to give, give. But also in wisdom, know to who you give to. Very important. Next slide, please. Now Moses was keeping the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the farthest end of the wilderness, and came unto the mountain of Elohim unto Horeb. Moshe haya ro'eh et zon yitron kot no Kohen Midian. Moshe haya ro'eh et zon yitro kot no. His father-in-law. He was already married to Zipporah. Brothers and sisters. He didn't do the lazy stance, the sluggish stance, the spirit of the Atzel stance. You understand? Well, I got the woman already. I ain't got to do nothing else. I'm going to just sit here and chill. I said earlier, we're going to talk about that, quote, chilling spirit. Now, had he just been the person that was about chilling, he would have never been able to be going toward meeting the Most High. You understand? If he was about that laid back, there's a lion in the streets. Yeah, the door's turning on its hinges, but I'm in my own house, so I'm good. If he had that spirit, the Most High would have not been willing to deal with him, but the Most High saw something in him that Moshe, even not having the sluggish spirit, still didn't see within himself. It says, get thee unto Pharaoh in the morning, lo, he goeth out unto the water, and thou shalt stand by the river's brink to meet him, and the rod which thou turn into a serpent thou shalt take in thy hand. Lek el Pharaoh Boqwer, hine yo ze hamayima wa nizabta lik arato al safat hay or. Now, I want to emphasize something about this, and I want to circle this for Hebrew purposes, right? When you read or have read or saw this word here, right, that's being circled in the red, the word hay or, the word your or, is the Hebrew word regarding the Nile River. Your or is the Hebrew way of speaking of the Nile River, all right? So we can understand what that's talking about for edification purposes. Now, Lek el Paro Boqwer. Now I want to circleize, or pardon me, circle something. All right. Boqwer. Does anybody know what the word Boqwer means? Surely somebody does. Means. What does the word Boqwer mean? Anybody? If we were looking at this, it says, go unto Pharaoh, Boqwer, and we read the English. What does the word Boqwer mean? Anybody know? Anybody care to take a shot at this? The word Boqwer means morning, right? Now, let's look at something in regards with this. You got the bait, the kuf, and the resh. Boqwer, right? The bet, the kuf, and the resh. The bet, the kuf, and the resh. Do you know when this is a verb, what does the word Boqwer mean? What does that mean? Anyone? The word means to seek or to inquire. So in the morning, in Hebraic thought, that's when you go and seek things out. Why you think even in this society, most interviews with jobs are done in the morning? Most. Not all, but most. So if we understand that boquer means morning, and in the verb, the root bakwa means to seek or to inquire, we could begin to see how the Hebraic thought is at. Sheshet Yamin, 6 days. Ta'abod. Wa'asita kol malak teka. You don't have it in Hebraic thought. Getting up in the afternoon. Getting up in the evening. You get up in Hebraic thought in the morning when you're seeking things out. The concept that many of our brothers, not knocking the black man, that sits there and says, yo, I'm gonna get up at 1, I'm gonna get up at 2, and so forth and so on, and let the whole morning go by. That's not the spirit that we want to keep on thriving to the next generation. Our grandparents were up early in the morning. Moshe was an elder in the house of Yisrael. He didn't say, you know what, my age, I really can't make it. No. He didn't have, at that particular point, the concept that said there was a line in the street. I can't do it because of this. I won't do it because of that. I'm going to sit right here because of this. There's a time when to fall back. There's a time when to even retreat. But we don't have the falling back spirit to where we are now falling and we can't get up. Brothers and sisters, get thee unto Pharaoh in the morning. The spirit that says, you know, it's 5 o'clock, it's 6 o'clock, it's 7 o'clock, it's too early. That is not what Elohim is dealing with. Because I'm going to say it like this. There was a person that made a quote complaint about me as a brother. Oh, you know, it's too early. You know what? Next person, I can't entertain that spirit. My teachers in Israel call me anytime, young man. Anytime, young man. They didn't separate themselves after Shabbat from reaching out to the youth when I was one. I wasn't able to make it, but I'm going to say it while it's going on. The IMA, the Israelite Men Association, in their retreat that they're doing currently this weekend, may the Most High bless them. Those are things that we as a people should want to do one with another. In order to do that, you may have even had to take a plane, use a carpool, get some bread, kesef money up together, and pool things together. As opposed to, this is me and mine. I can't share none with you. My people, my place. That is not what the Most High is dealing with. So these are things, brothers and sisters, that we want to emphasize and talk upon and build upon as a nation. Next slide. Early bird catches the worm saying. I know it's a little silly picture. I got that from Google Images. In Genesis 42. Now Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, And Jacob said unto his sons, why do ye look one upon another? What is Jacob telling his children? Get up. He's just chilling right here, you know what word? Day in and day out. The door is turning on its hinges, and the sons of Jacob were just still chilling. That's why he said, why do you look one upon another? You looking at each other like you don't know which way is up. Go down and get us something to eat. And he said, behold, I have heard that there is corn in Mizraim. Get you down there and buy for us from thence, that we may live and not die. Jacob is sending his sons on a mission to do a particular thing for their, let's drop it, family. You understand what we're dealing with when we get into this kind of presentation? By this point, brothers and sisters, the children of Jacob already have children. Joseph was already have been sold. Joseph at this point is already a grown man. Now, if you do the mathematical calculations, Jacob was 91 years old when Joseph was born. You understand? If you do the mathematical calculations, the years between Reuben's birth and Joseph's birth is an interval of 30 years. So in a 30-year span between the birth of Reuben and the birth of Joseph, we see now, while Joseph is now a grown man, Jacob is telling his sons or asking them, why do you look one upon another? There's bread down in Egypt. His children, grown men, already have children. Get up, go down there, get us something to eat, that we may live and not die. What is the point in getting into that particular part? When the men don't step up, the people will die. If you're not understanding where we're going with this kind of aspect, brothers and sisters, while you're laying there chilling with the door turning on its hinges, your children are dying. Do we not see what is going on with us as a people? Biggie Smalls, what? 1993, 20-something years ago, party and boop, party and how long will you keep on partying and doing that other stuff that he said? When will we just stop as brethren, as men, as a people, just stop just looking at each other? Yeah, that looks cool, son. Yo, that chain is hot, son. Yo, I'ma kill niggas this summer. I got the cream on. I got this. I got my rims. And there's nothing wrong with having good things. There's nothing wrong with acquiring good things and righteousness. You didn't steal to get it. You understand? But how long are we as people going to just be saying that we are said the greatest entertainers? You understand? That's the question I'm asking. Jacob is telling his sons, go down, get us something to eat. Because when the men don't step up and make moves and get things for survival, the people will die. Jacob, no disrespect intended, was not saying, we're going to pray. Stop that. You remember Rosewood? They was praying even to another God, but that's not the main point at this particular point. In the movie Rosewood, when the preacher said, let's pray, it ain't no time for that right now. We have said our prayers when we woke up in the morning. Now, let us go and make these moves. This is why I wanted to get into the Hebrew earlier about Boqwer, meaning morning, and Boqwer, and root, meaning to seek. So when you got the Shikarit, which means dawn, D-A-W-N, ancient Israel had a thing called the Shikarit prayers. So you said certain prayers in the dawn, but when it's morning time, you get up, you make that move. After you said your tefillah or your prayer. You don't say the prayer, then go back to sleep, and then do nothing. The Bible talks about people like that. In the book of Hosea, it says, though they wail on their beds, none will lift themselves up. You understand? So these are things, brothers and sisters, we want to point out. In the Bible, it talks about that. Hosea chapter 7. Though they wail upon their beds, none lift themselves up. Israelites have made the Torah look religious. The Torah itself tells you about getting things done. Ki sheshet yamim asa Yehovah et hashemayim wa et haaretz wa et hayam wa et kal asher ba'am. For in 6 days the Most High made the heavens, the earth, the sea, and all that in them is. The Most High was putting his work in. So when we read in the scriptures, when it says wait on the Lord, the Hebrew, when it says wait on the Lord, is the word kwawah or kwaweh, which means not wait like you stand still and you do absolutely nothing in your life. That wait with kwawah means to hope or to expect. The wait in Hebrew, when you just wait and do absolutely nothing at that point, is the word chacheh. 2 different Hebrew words. One is kwaweh and chacheh, 2 different words. So when you read, in most cases in the Bible, when it says wait on the Lord, it is telling you in proper translation to hope on the Most High. The same one who said, though they wail on their beds unto me, none will lift themselves up. If we are men made in the image of the Most High, and he is a worker, why are we okay with not doing the work that the Most High has given us? How do we have so much time to talk negative about everybody else? I remember having a job in New York, right? And it was a funny saying, but it was a real saying. I was working in a warehouse, and somebody wrote in the warehouse on one of the shelves in there, if you are reading this now, you are not working. And I read it like, really? I kind of figured who wrote it was the assistant manager. LOL, you want to be funny? Okay, cute, quote unquote. But it was a deep message with that. If you have so much time on your hands to not get things done, things will not get done. That's what Jacob was telling his sons. That's what the Most High was telling Israel and Hosea, the children of Israel. And he said, behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. So if you can take it to your personal life and to situations in life, there's opportunities elsewhere. No, I'm going to sit right here and complain about, yo, New York is mad expensive, B. New York is very expensive. Or are you going to take the advantage, righteous advantage, and make that move? Not only in my personal life, but I'm speaking about me in regarding to us as a people for us to step it up. This is what this is about. Coming from the scriptures itself. This is not religion, Yisrael. The house of Israel is not based on, sorry to have to say that, hand-picked weak men who want to sit there and say the black woman is God, so therefore the man doesn't have anything to do because after all, she's God. The universe surrounds around her. And we just sit there like bees protecting the queen against other bees. See the foolishness in that? We're not bees, brothers and sisters, or in this case, brothers. We're not the borot bees like the beehive. The book of Proverbs, chapter 6, it says, go to the ant, thou sluggard, who having no leader, provide for himself. Ants don't have a leader like the bees do with the beehive and all of that. Go to the ant, thou sluggard. That's what it's showing you how things can and should be done. Do what you got to do for what you got to do, for who you have to do it for. Next slide, please. Leviticus 19, so we can get understanding of where we're going in this particular aspect. It says, and when you reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corner of thy field, neither shalt thou gather the gleaning of thy harvest. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather the fallen fruit of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and for the stranger. I am the Lord thy God. Intermission. I'm going to get me something to drink. Be right back, brothers and sisters. Thank you for that time, brothers and sisters. Wanted to get back into this. Leviticus 19. You shall not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather the fallen fruit of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and for the stranger. I am the Lord thy God. That was a built-in welfare system in the house of Israel. When you reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corner of thy field. Don't sit there and say, I'm going to take it all. This is my land. I'm going to take it all. Don't reap it. Don't sit there and take each and every, oh, I got to go back and get that part. Leave it for those that are less fortunate. Ye shall not steal, neither shall ye deal falsely, nor lie one unto another. Thou shalt not curse to death, neither put a stumbling block before the blind, but thou shalt fear thy Elohim. I am Yah. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt surely rebuke thy neighbor and not bear sin because of him. Ye shall not hate thy brother in thy heart. Brothers and sisters, you cannot fake love in life. If you're not loving something, Feeling something doesn't enthuse you, doesn't interest you, don't sit there in front and carry on like it does. The Most High said he cannot endure iniquity along with the solemn assembly. So the spirit of Saul and the spirit of David, that's not going to sit there and mesh. Brothers and sisters, you understand something about that for edification purposes. So one more time. There's a portion in the scriptures that speaks about David doing a good deed to one of the people of the other nation, a stranger, if you will. That's called showing love. David was giving back because of what was shown to him in kindness. Look up the story about David and Ahaz, the king of the people of the Ammonites, in the Bible, if you will. David was shown good, so he returned good. So when somebody asks, like we went in the beginning of this presentation, how are you? And your response is, I'm well, thank you for asking, and you leave it at that. That's not the spirit that the Most High was dealing with. Remember what it said about David? That the Most High said, this is a man after my Yah heart. David is being called upon as a man that's after the heart of the Most High. So when David was shown good, he returned the good. So when somebody asks you how you doing, you don't sit there and not ask the same thing back. That's disrespectful, brothers and sisters. That's arrogance, brothers and sisters. How do you feel comfortable saying, oh, I'm well, thank you for asking, and you don't ask the thing back? You don't want to be thanked for asking back? That's how selfishness causes you to even be depreciated. Seem like a small thing, right? But this is why we on the level of Saul and not the level of David. That's why many of us have the evil eye toward our brother, just like Saul had toward David. Because the little things shows you where your mind and your heart is at. A friend of mine told me the other day that I am involved and plan things in regards with my little one. So it's not just handling your responsibility, you make yourself involved in it. Well, yeah, I bought her something, I bought my kid something. But to make sure you're involved in it is quite different. It's a step up, if you will. You understand? So, brothers and sisters, when we see thou shalt not curse the deaf, pardon me, DEAF, nor put a stumbling block before the blind. When somebody is seeking something, we're going to get into that kind of spirit later on in this presentation as well. You don't lead them in the wrong direction. But thou shalt fear thy Elohim. Fear meaning respect, brothers and sisters. There's two different kinds of fear. There's the word yareh, which means to fear as in to admire or respect. Then there's the word pahad, brothers and sisters. The word pakad means fright or terror. Next slide. Meme on the left-hand side. There will be haters. There will be doubters. There will be non-believers. And then there will be you proving them wrong. Leviticus 19 says, thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand idly by the blood of thy neighbor. I am Yah. Proverbs 31. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. We are told as Israel, we don't stand idly by the blood of our neighbor. When you see somebody is in distress, one way, shape, form, fashion, or another, you're supposed to be able to either you help them, or if you don't know how to help directly, you try to find out somebody who can do the helping. I don't know what about that, so I'm gonna refer to you to someone else. That's how we should operate. Speaking of the virtuous woman, it says she stretcheth out her hand to the poor. She doesn't have the mentality that says, I ain't helping these bums. I remember one person, not mentioning no names, said when the government shutdown happened earlier in this year, that this person didn't feel a way about certain ones who were being affected because, well, they could have stepped up anyway. So I inboxed this person and I said, did you know the reason why I asked on Facebook to be your friend is because you holding a business was recommended by another sister. So I wanted to promote your business on the channel. But the spirit of non-believing and doubters and not having the love in your heart for your own people, you was okay not to be racial. You was okay with the white man's government hurting our people while you were trying to promote business to your black people. That's the spirit that says, I will, thank you for asking. They're not going to ask you how you're doing. So when you're going through a situation, they're going to say, well, you should have helped yourself. That's why we stay at the bottom. That's why Israel, we don't see salvation. That's why we stay in the land of our exiles. North Carolina, New York, or those who are still subjugated in Demona, Israel, under the Europeans, even in your own homeland. These are the reasons why, because we're not exercising HaTorah. This is not, brothers and sisters, about Sabbath service. I am 39 years old. I've been in the understanding of Israel since I was 2. I remember turning 9 in 1989. So for over 30 years, after every Shabbat, singing the same thing again, Old Pa'am again, Old Pa'am again. It becomes monotonous and tiring when there is no growth shown. That's why I respect the work of those in that organization, the Israelite Men Association, that's having their retreat to reach out to the youth. That's the kind of stuff that would make us be respected, brothers and sisters. That's the kind of stuff to want to show, not show off, but to show up. But as the meme says, there will be haters. There will be doubters. It says the haters of the Most High will dwindle. And if you're doing the work for the Most High, they who hate you will also dwindle. That's why Saul's kingdom was replaced with David's. Saul hated, or in terminologies of today, hated on David. Where is the kingdom of Saul? If you show me that in archaeology or in today's time, because there are people in this earth that say they from the seed of David. Who in this earth is talking about they from the house of Saul? You understand? That's something we want to point out for edification purposes. So we want to have, brothers and sisters, a different kind of spirit, as it says in the scriptures. Next slide. Proverbs 3 and Proverbs 27. Say not unto thy neighbor, go and come again, and tomorrow I will give when thou hast it by thee. If you have something for somebody, give it to them, be it you paying it back or being you loaning it. Don't say when you're already able to do it, we'll come back tomorrow. Devise not evil against thy neighbor, seeing he dwelleth securely by thee. That goes along, brothers and sisters, with not being a talebearer. Don't be a slanderer. Don't be one who also indulges one's personal secrets. Don't try to sit there and I'm going to look forward to blowing you up. That is devising evil, brothers and sisters. You're supposed to, as it says in Leviticus 19, rebuke your neighbor. There is a culture of Israel, brothers and sisters. Let another man praise thee, and not thine own mouth, a stranger, and not thine own lips. Better is open rebuke than love that is hidden. Brothers and sisters, better is open rebuke than love that is hidden. So, brothers and sisters, in Israel, we don't have time for the games. You understand? Well, I'm not going to say this because it is. If you are wise and your friends, your brothers and sisters are wise, you know, as Proverbs 10 says, the lips of the wise know what's acceptable. So you should know and can't approach your brother or your sister. Next slide, please. Ecclesiasticus chapter 1 and chapter 6. Wisdom hath been created before all things, and the understanding of prudence from everlasting. If thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor. If not, lay thy hand upon thy mouth. So if you don't know an answer for something, it's like, you know what? I really don't know what to say to that, but I can see somebody who may be able to help you. Don't sit there and break Leviticus 19 law, leading the blind astray just because you want to look smart. Let's read that part again, brothers and sisters, for edification purposes, right? So we can gain something from what we're talking about, right? It says, and quote, we want to use the laser pointer for this one. Thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind. So you don't curse the deaf or put a stumbling block before the blind. So when you go now in the book of the Apocrypha, in Ecclesiasticus, taking a wisdom from that, that says, if thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor. So this is why in Proverbs, what did we just read? Say not unto thy neighbor, go and come again, and tomorrow I will give. This is what we're emphasizing on. Moses was presenting himself to the people day in and day out. You understand? It wasn't a thing. Of course, later on, he got some counsel and he set up a board of trustees, if you will, right? But it wasn't a thing like, oh, I can't deal with that. I can't deal with that. I'm not going to deal with that. I'll plead the fifth. I ain't going to talk. No, that's not the role of a leader. And you will find out when you talk to brothers and sisters, their own character. Who is built for what? Because everybody is not built for everything. That's why when I was in college as a teacher, and the brother was like, yo, I'm working on the science book. I'm like, chemistry and the formulas, I'm not built for that. That's not my portion. I have beloved family members. Matter of fact, even a sibling, if I may say. It is, you know what I mean? Sister. Not into history for the world. I have a younger sister that is not into history at all. And anyone who knows the channel, that's one of the biggest things I promote is history. Not tonight, though. We're not talking history tonight. We're talking getting up for the future. That's part of what this is right here. But there are those brothers and sisters who could care less much about history. That doesn't deter me from wanting to sit there and speak on history. You understand? I wanted to address something about something in here because that's not really what the main point was. But when it says there's corn in Egypt, whoever, Brother Joel, what that's talking about, corn is barley. grain. They just use the poor translation in there as corn. All right, so hopefully that was understood. All right, so now getting back into, because I was just reading the comments, sorry about that. But getting back into this particular aspect here, right? Let another man praise thee and not thine own mouth. It says, a man shall be praised according to his intelligence. But if you have the mind that says, go and come again, you're not going to get praised. You're going to be disrespected and dragged through the mud. Devise not evil against thy neighbor. See, when you're doing something in regards with the Most High, and people see you in that light that the Most High is bringing through you, you're not, quote, doing you. You're doing something in regards to Yah. So there is no, it's too early, it's too late, I'm busy. Just say, I'll get back to you. That's what you say. But when you have hatred in your heart, jealousy in your heart, malice in your heart, disrespect and discontent in your heart, you're not going to say that because you don't want a brother or sister to approach you about something. That's why this is important, because everybody is not built for everything. I'm not the person to come to about chemistry and so forth and so on. Want to get a playlist or a list of books about the Persian Empire? I can help you. Want to know about economics and money and finances? There may be another brother or sister for that. Know where your role is at. But no, brothers and sisters, there are those who will be supportive and those who will be destructive. And one foolproof way to find out is that spirit will never say shalom. Real talk. That spirit, when you say, may the Most High bless you, it will not say, may the Most High bless you back. Pharaoh was like that. When he said, Israel, you can go, he said, and bless me also. He didn't say, go and be blessed, Israel. He said, you can go and bless me also. Still under the selfish mindsets. Still can't say, let us bless each other. That's the spirit of what's being talked about. And I want to emphasize on something now, being for this weekend in the state of North Carolina, about the mindset of people here and some of the mindset of people in New York. Negroes are from one end of the earth to the next. Stop talking against black people from New York when the same drama and foolishness goes down in any other states. When Florida, which is even further south than North Carolina, is much more rowdy than New York can ever think. The hoods, the ghettos in Miami is much more deeper than the hoods and the ghettos in Brooklyn. So I'm emphasizing just that little point to show brothers and sisters that spirit of not being unified one with another, that spirit of that hatred towards one another. And as I'm pointing out and can show, that spirit will never say shalom, will never answer a question directly or tell you where you can get an answer from, and will not support what you are about. When you see that, we're going to show in the scriptures what it says to do once you're encountered with that kind of aspect. It says in Ecclesiasticus 6, my son, gather understanding from thy youth up, so shalt thou find wisdom to thine old age. What else does it say? For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. Everybody is not built for everything. I'm not wise in science. It says, for wisdom is according to her name, and she, wisdom, is not manifest unto many. So when somebody can show you that they are not wise in a particular thing, you do what? Leave them alone. That's what you do. When you try to build with someone or something, and they're letting you know they're not the one for that project, they're not the one for that endeavor, shalom, and watch it not be said back to you. Let's go on. Ecclesiasticus chapter 6. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. And if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. You have to want to know something. And this son can be a grown man or can be actually my child, a female, because females can learn too. When I was in the congregation Hashaba Yisrael, I was impressed personally when I was there around the time of Passover, when the Shabbat before that, they had the woman go up and do the reading and do the speaking. Much shout out and respect to the camp Hashaba Yisrael in regards to that. Much respect to the camp DCB in New York that have the sisters to go up and emphasize and bring points out. You understand? And if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door. That's out of the book of the Apocrypha. This is why, when I had a problem, I knew who to call. May he rest in peace, Chief Simeon. May he rest in peace, More Mishael. May the Most High continue to bless his life, Kohen Mikael. You got to know that there are certain people in your life that the Most High may have set in front of you, just like he told ancient Israel. I set before you Aaron, Moses, and Miriam. So all the females, well, there ain't no female representation. The Most High said he gave you Miriam, who's older than Moses. He gave you Deborah, who was younger than that generation. He gave you Hula, who was younger than the generation of Deborah. So, brothers, we don't have to worry about Jezebel. We don't have to worry about Vashti. We don't have to worry about Job's wife. Because there are so many examples of good, pious, righteous Sarah, Rebecca, and Leah kind of women in the Tanakh. To where they drown out the women like Vashti, to where they drown out the woman like Job's wife. We'll just curse God and die. Woman, you're supposed to sit there and try to see how I can get better. That's the kind of spirit that won't say shalom back to you. So now, when we read, and if thou sayest for a man of understanding, because everybody doesn't have understanding. Everybody doesn't have that patience to sit there and go betimes and often. But if you are presenting yourself, brothers and sisters, as a spokesperson before the Most High and before his people, and you tell your brother or your sister it's too early or too late, that's wicked. If you have to sleep at night, which is normal, and they care to hold a conversation, and you don't have the strength for that time, I'm going to get back to you, brother or sister. That's what you're supposed to say. But if you're not built for it, and the Most High is trying to get that person to get to you, you have just stopped the work of the Most High from coming through you. This is how serious this gets. What are we doing in these days and times, brothers and sisters? It's just that important. If somebody were to ask me, not to toot my own horn, brother, what does that say about that in the Hebrew? And if I happen to get that message, or if the message was sent email or text at 4:30 in the a.m. in the morning, 4 or so in the morning, as soon as I see it, I will respond accordingly. I'm not going to say, yo, that was too early to contact me. Yah doesn't slumber nor sleep. So if you're doing the work in regards to the Most High, and you'll still know that you're a man when you're not slumbering, when you're not sleeping, do the work for Yah. That's what it boils down to. You don't say or present yourself as a spokesperson before the creator of heaven and earth to the people of the Most High, and then sit there and tell a brother or sister, well, it was too late when you contacted me. Why did you call me or text me at that time? I can't do that at that time. If you can't do it at the time, then you do it at the time that you can. If you about the Most High, when the Most High gives you the strength to be able to address the situation, but never, never do you say, as it says right here, brothers and sisters, in Proverbs, so we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about. Say not unto thy neighbor, go and come again, and tomorrow I will give. If you can say that, then you can answer the question. And if you don't know the answer, what does the book also tell us to do? As a form of advice. If thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor. If not, lay thy hand upon thy mouth. That's what you do. You never try to be the one who presents yourself as a spokesperson before the Most High and before his people, until the same people of the Most High go away and come back later. Or don't contact me at this time because I can't. Because in this day and time, when you got DM, direct messenger, text message, and emails, there is no reason why somebody who is a said More, who is a said Cohen, who is a said Nasi, who is a said Samal, More meaning teacher, Cohen meaning priest, Seren meaning sergeant, Nasi meaning prince, whatever title or position one may have. If you are being seen as a beacon of light before the Most High to his people, you never tell your people, his people, to go away or don't contact me now. What you do is you get your strength together, give thanks to the Most High, and respond back to his people. In the book of Jeremiah, the people asked Jeremiah of a question. You understand? The Most High had Jeremiah give him the answer 10 days later. So yes, there's a time for everything. But when you have that time, you do what you do. Jeremiah didn't wait 10 days later after he got the message 10 days later. So the people waiting 20 days. No. Soon as y'all let him know, he let it be. No. That's a representative or a representative of the Most High. Now, when you're dealing and confronted with the spirit that wants to sit there and not deal with the aspect of how you doing, and they're not asking you back how you're doing because they're selfish and conceited, and just say, well, I'm well, thank you for asking, that kind of spirit. This is when we read, for wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. So once you see that, that person ain't dealing in Kakma or in wisdom. Next slide. If thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him. Betimes means what? Like often, again and again, this time and then another time. And let thy foot wear the steps of his door. See, that shows you if you have understanding of something, they're going to come to you with questions about what they want to know. And the people who are seeking information are told to come at you respectfully, to come and address you respectfully, so you can glean understanding. And if you have understanding, you're not going to be one talking about it's too early or it's too late. No, that's not going to be that spirit. Let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Most High, and meditate continually in his commandments. He shall establish thine heart and give thee wisdom at thine own desire. Upon the ordinances, the mishpatim of the Most High. In Exodus, part of that portion referred to as mishpatim, it says in part, you shall be holy men unto the Most High. Holy kwadosh from kwadash, which means what? Sanctified, also separated. Not holier than thou, but it says of the priests. The Hebrew word for a priest is Kohen. It comes from its root word in Hebrew, kihen, which means to minister. The priesthood in ancient Israel had shifts. So you had certain ones that worked at certain hours, and then the next shift will come in and they rest. And then the next shift will come in. David had it like that with the porters of the singers that used to go back and forth. It was a community. So if you're establishing a community, you don't tell people it's too early or it's too late. Because the community can't operate only on just one set time. You got to have roles and shifts and changes. That's how important this kind of matter is. Next slide. Proverbs chapter 14 and Proverbs chapter 8. And Ecclesiasticus 22. Go from the presence of a foolish man, for thou wilt not perceive the lips of knowledge. Go from the presence of a foolish man, for thou wilt not perceive the lips of knowledge. What does it say previous to that? If thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door. Seek that person out and glean all the info you can. But on the other end, you go from the presence of a foolish man, one who is not of understanding. And how do you know that? Because it says, and give thee wisdom in thine own desire. So when you have that wisdom, connecting it to the aspect before, for wisdom, according to your own desire, it will be given to you, is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. So when you see the person that you are not able to sit there and glean knowledge from, that is to say, from a fool, you go from that person's presence. So when you are told it is not the time to talk about that right now, okay, I'm going to seek it out somewhere else. When you're about something, you got to be about it like fire and water. That's why I went over earlier about the hand of the diligent. The hand of the diligent, if you see a person that is not about that and you still about that, understanding, you're going to seek it out. Excuse me, okay, you're not the one for that. You're not built for that. Next, let me go and seek it somewhere else. These are things we want to talk about for edification purposes. Let's go over to the right-hand side of this. Proverbs 8. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence and find out knowledge of devices. Give to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a righteous man, and he will increase in learning. But when you're dealing with the fool, Proverbs already told you what to do with that. Ecclesiasticus 22 says this: talk not much with a fool, and go not to him that hath no understanding. Beware of him, lest thou have trouble, and thou shalt never be defiled with his fooleries. Depart from him, and thou shalt find rest, and never be disquieted with madness. Pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? You will not be defiled with his fooleries. Brothers and sisters, when you see a person's a fool in a particular subject, leave that person alone. If a brother is able to get into history, linguistics, and Hebrew, and he's telling you he's not the one talking about chemistry, biology, then I'm the one who's not of understanding with chemistry and biology. Go and find the one that is. That's what it's telling you to do. But once it comes down, say now, not even no linguistics or no history or no said science course. Once it comes down to something of the most high, understand where we're going. And you wear your fringes, you know your fringes, that's there as a reminder to keep the laws of the most high. And you're not doing according to that, that's not good. Next slide. Available on lulu.com and to be available. The book you see right here, I'm going to circle this in the black. This book here is available on lulu.com. I'm going to circle this, brothers and sisters, in the green. This book is to come out on lulu.com. Stay tuned on how to acquire it. The Egypt Talk and Writing book, for those who are authors or know anything about publishing, I bought my proof copy. That's a way of saying to the people, it's coming out within the next 7 to 8 days. Because when you buy your proof copy, what the publishers do, they mail it to you, you read everything, you see what you want to change up, and then the next edit that you give is for the people. So within the next 7 to 10 days, there will be a presentation, creator willing, in regards on how to get that book, the updated version, which has a quite deal more information than a former Egypt Talk book. Email kashuput@gmail.com if you want a copy of this PowerPoint. Email hkashub@yahoo.com. Same email to send PayPal for those who care to give any kind of donation. Email Yisrael, YYISRAEL 22@yahoo.com for any questions. Those are 3 different emails, and I'm going to type it inside the room here. kashubhut@gmail.com for a copy of PowerPoint. Then there's hkashub@yahoo.com for those who care to support via PayPal. Then there is Yisrael 22@yahoo.com for questions. It is 908-587-4841 for those who care to speak. Text first, please. All right. So I just want that to be noted on that is for that particular aspect. Okay. Now, why do I have an email set up for questions and a telephone number set up in regard to speaking is because as an author, I find that when you ask a question in writing, it generally comes out a lot better than per se speaking. Because if you didn't mean it a certain way, you can erase that before you send it, as opposed to having to reword the question verbally. That's why I have it set up like that. Next slide. Available on lulu.com, right? We want to sit there and put this in the yellow. Hebrew is Easy, Volume 1, circled in the yellow. This is available on lulu.com. And circled in the dark blue is the book that will be available on lulu.com. Hebrew is Easy Part 2. All right, so the book on the bottom has not been released yet, but the book on the top has. All right, for those who are caring about the information about how to acquire the books, you go to lulu.com. Okay, are there any questions before we close out or comments concerning what we talked about? Questions or comments? All right, we're going to close out, giving honor and praise unto Yah, creator, the maker of heaven and earth. Shalom.